You ever seen two cops pointing loaded guns at a woman standing dead still in the middle of the street, just breathing, not saying a word? You'd think she was the villain, right? Well, that's what I saw, and let me tell you, I still don't know what stung more, the weight of their suspicion or the silence before everything changed. It was the middle of a hot Sunday, that time when families trickle out of church, kids dragging scooters across the cracked sidewalk, the city kind of lazy and gentle, you know? Then, like the world wanted to slap us all awake, gunfire ripped through the neighborhood. Just pop, 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 and suddenly peace shattered like glass. People hit the ground, some ran, others froze. That panic you only see in movies, except it's real and real messy. And there she was. One woman, not screaming, not ducking, just striding right out into the chaos, like she had a personal grudge against death itself. Tall, steady, brown skin almost glowing against her olive cargo pants. Hair pulled back so tight, not a single strand moved. She pulled a Glock from her waistband, didn't hesitate, didn't flinch. 2 shots, quick and sharp. And that's when the shooter, this white guy in tactical gear, eyes blank as a broken TV crumpled in a heap. Blood spilled out, thick and dark, and his gun slid away, harmless at last. Nobody cheered, nobody thanked her, nobody even moved. They just watched from behind cars, eyes wide, jaws slack. Sirens came screaming. The blue and red lights painted the walls, and the air thickened. Then 2 cops, both white, jumped out of their cruiser like they were storming the beaches at Normandy, guns drawn, voices already cracking. Drop it. Drop the weapon now. It was like they saw nothing but her skin and the metal in her hand. Not the shooter on the ground, not the terrified families, just her alone. She didn't run. She didn't plead. She just turned her head, slow, like every motion was a negotiation with fate, and said, voice calm, low, almost sad, I'm not the one you should be worried about. But you know how it is. They weren't listening. All they saw was a black woman with a gun, and that's all they needed. Her hands, holding the Glock loose behind her back, weren't even pointed at anyone. Her eyes, steady, weren't challenging. If anything, she looked disappointed. Not afraid, not confused, just tired, the kind of tired that comes from knowing how fast everything can turn on you for reasons that don't make sense unless you live it. The cops closed in. One of them, so tense his gun, shook in his grip. Put it down. Hands where I can see him, he yelled. She let out a breath, like she'd done this dance before, and I swear for a split second, the whole street went silent. The kind of silence where you feel every heartbeat in your teeth. And then let me back up a sec. Something slid out from her back pocket, landed on the pavement with a soft, plastic smack. A military ID. The wind caught the edge, flipped it open, and the photo matched her face, name stamped bold. Lieutenant Commander Ayanna Blake. Navy. Combat tours. Medals. More than most of us could even imagine. The female cop paused, blinked at the ID, confusion cutting through her adrenaline. The guy hesitated too, but the gun stayed up. Ayanna, still cool as ever, turned around, hands raised, not in surrender, but almost like a question. Would you have screamed at me if I looked like you? She asked, voice steady but sharp enough to draw blood. Before anybody could answer, the ground started to tremble deep, mechanical, and fast. 6 black SUVs, government plates, engines roaring, pulled up so quick it was like a movie. Out jumped a whole squad of military personnel, weapons ready. But then their leader, tall, older, black man in dress uniform, ran straight for her. Worry written all over his face. Commander Blake, are you all right, ma'am? He barked, and in that instant, the whole power dynamic flipped. Ayanna nodded, quick and crisp. Shooter neutralized. 1 suspect. No civilian casualties. The convoy leader stared at the cops. What the hell happened here? The officers were stone silent, faces draining of color. A few neighbors crept out, phones up, already recording. The shame hung heavy in the air, thick enough to choke on. I remember this old white woman from the neighborhood, voice shaking as she stepped forward. I saw you. You saved us. I didn't say anything. I was scared. Ayanna didn't say a word. She just stared, then looked at the crowd, at all of us standing there, frozen with our thumbs on record, but not a single one calling out the truth. Another voice piped up. A dad I recognized. She saved my daughter. Someone else. She stopped him alone. Murmurs grew. People realizing they were witnessing something ugly, something they have to explain to their kids later. Ayanna finally spoke, not loud, not angry, just unflinching. You all saw what happened after I saved you, she said, voice calm but hard. You watched. Nobody moved. Nobody said a word. And then, to the camera, to the world, were you watching from? Drop it in the comments. And don't just scroll past. The convoy leader stepped in again, voice ironclad. You point a gun at a decorated U.S. commander again without knowing what's happening. You'll answer for it. In front of Congress. The male cop wanted to talk, but nothing came out, just air. Ayanna tucked her sidearm away, picked up her ID, walked right past them. Just before she left, she stopped, looked back, not with anger, but with the kind of quiet that hurts more than yelling. Next time, ask yourself, would you treat you this way? And then she was gone. Hours later, the footage went viral, but not the shooting, not the heroism, just that frozen moment of two white officers screaming at a calm black woman whose ID lay right at her feet. Some called it racism. Some called it near murder. Some called it just another day in America. But for Ayanna Blake, it was just Tuesday. Flashback, if you can picture it, a younger Ayanna at her grandfather's casket, promising him she'd wear the uniform with pride. Training at Annapolis, medals pinned, missions that would make your skin crawl. Pulling people from burning buildings in Kandahar, risking her life for strangers. Now, saving lives at home and almost dying for it. Back in the present, at the community center, Ayanna was folding chairs next to a teenage boy who'd seen the whole thing. He looked at her, eyes wide. You were so calm. Weren't you scared? She smiled, small and sad. Fear's not the enemy. Forgetting who you are, that's what'll kill you. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, the cops who drew on her sat in internal affairs, silent, sweating. You mistook a black woman with a sidearm for a threat, the investigator said. Even after she neutralized the real one. The male cop tried to defend himself, we thought, but the IIA officer cut him off. You didn't think. You aimed. The city planned a big public apology, cameras, reporters, politicians lining up to look good. Ayanna showed up in full uniform, metal sharp, eyes sharper. She took the mic, looked right at the officers in the front row, and asked, when you saw me, what did you see? No one answered, but she didn't need them to. That day, I wasn't a criminal. I wasn't aggressive. I was a protector. I still am. She paused. But here's the truth you won't write in your reports. You weren't scared of what I was holding, you were scared of who was holding it. Later, as the sun set, Ayanna walked alone down Greenwood Avenue, past wilted flowers and faded chalk lines. A kid on a bike sped by. Thanks for saving my mom, he yelled. She gave a little wave, barely a smile. A reporter jogged up, breathless. Commander Blake, any last words? She turned, looked him dead in the eye, then at the street where it all happened. No one called me a hero until after they pointed guns at me, she said, voice low. One day, I hope I can walk into a crisis and just be seen as a person. Not a problem, not a threat, just a person. And just like that, she turned the corner, vanishing into the evening, leaving us all to ask ourselves, who do we see when we look at someone holding a weapon? Someone who doesn't look like us? I wasn't aggressive. I was just black and breathing. If that truth hits you, speak up. Share what you think. Where's the line between justice and fear? Does the color of someone's skin still decide who we call a threat or a hero? Drop your thoughts below. Maybe, just maybe we'll get it right next time.
Xin chào các bạn, mình là Trinh, mình phụ trách viết content. Trên đây là những công việc của mình là mình lên mạng xã hội tìm hiểu những video.
Next one? Alright. Thank you, man. Hey, if you guys have any trouble, let somebody know. Please.
After the tree to hold on to.
Yeah, they're...